What a Way to Go is a hilarious 1964 comedy starring Shirley MacLaine, Dean Martin, Paul Newman, Robert Mitchum, Gene Kelly, Dick Van Dyke, and Robert Cummings.
If you're looking for a unique film, I think this is an excellent candidate.
You have really, really sad subject matter, which is all of these guys, celebrities that you really like, kicking the bucket, and yet it's a really funny movie. It does a great job at paying homage to all kinds of styles of film, which I as a film buff really enjoy and love. And you can just tell that the actors had a blast on set making the film.
Each actor brings their own self to the movie. So when it's Dick Van Dyke's scene, it's like you're watching a Dick Van Dyke movie. And then when it's Gene Kelly's scene, you're watching a Gene Kelly movie. But they're all in one movie. And I loved that so much because I love all these characters. I grew up with Dean Martin, Gene Kelly. I grew up with all of them, and it was so fun to see them all in a movie together.
This movie makes no secret about being over the top. From the very beginning, where you see a pink house and a pink casket and everything pink and you have no idea why. But from that very first moment on, everything just continues to be over the top.
Advice I would give someone going into watching this movie is do not expect anything, and allow yourself to embrace the zaniness of the plot.
One of the things that I love most about this film is all the different ways that it tells a story. There are 5 different stories happening, and they happen in 5 different styles.
There are a lot of twists and turns in this movie, and what's interesting is you always know ultimately what's going to happen, you just don't know how it's going to happen, and the movie throws some really funny surprises at you.
I didn't know who Shirley MacLaine was, but I thought she did a fantastic job. She had so many great facial expressions. Like when, every time she realizes that she accidentally inspires a husband, she just gets, and she just starts to cry.
Throughout this movie, Shirley MacLaine has 5 different husbands, and my favorite is Dick Van Dyke. To me, Dick Van Dyke and Shirley MacLaine have the most genuine love story of them all. They are so cute together in the beginning, and the way that their love progresses and the way that everything happens throughout their marriage is so perfect to me. I love it. And Dick Van Dyke's physical comedy is amazing as always.
Another one of my favorites was Paul Newman. Oh my gosh, he's so dreamy in this. If you love Paul Newman, you will love this movie.
I love Paul Newman's section when we're in France and he's the artist and he's always eating food. He's like got celery in his mouth while he's like yelling about art.
He is portraying this crazy zany artist, and it's just absolutely absurd, but also really funny to watch him play this character.
All of the leading men do a fantastic job, but my favorite has to be Gene Kelly. He is so down to earth in this role, which is a big change of pace for him for most of his roles. However, he does grow to be his usual more pompous self, but seeing the contrast is really fun.
As far as leading men is concerned, my favorite, it's a toss-up between Gene Kelly and Robert Mitchum. Those two contrasting storylines are just very fun.
Gene Kelly really is amazing in this movie. To me, it's his humblest role. He usually plays this really overconfident character that typically he runs up to the camera and stops, and he just feels so self-involved to me as an actor. But in this movie, he's actually quite humbling and genuine. I just love the meekness of Gene Kelly's character.
Edith Head, who was like the costume designer in Hollywood, must have had a heyday on this film. As you watch throughout the whole thing, like just the costumes get more and more insane and fun and extravagant.
I thought the costumes in this movie were fantastic. I thought they were so fun. I thought they bring so much life to the movie. I thought that that each costume kind of meant something, whereas when you watch a movie and you look at the clothing and think, oh, that's just what they were wearing that day. You know, there really wasn't any thought put into it. But with this movie, with the costumes, each costume was so fantastic and so unique, especially in the Lush production scene. Each dress she wore, she was just ridiculous. You're like, why is she wearing that? That's amazing. Well, I want it. Can I have that? Yes, please, thank you.
I would give this movie 5 stars. I'm a little hesitant to give it 5 stars. I always give movies 5 stars. And while this isn't my favorite movie in the world, there's really nothing I would change.
I give it 5 stars, even though it's not really a big name that you would have heard of. Each one of the segments is brilliant, and it's a lovely snapshot, and the whole piece is just delightful.
I would give this movie 4.5 out of 5 because I loved the movie so much, but the reason I don't give it 5 stars is because it got predictable, but in a good way.
I would give this 4 out of 5 stars. It's a really fun, zany movie, but not exactly the cream of the crop to come out of Hollywood.
The original title of this film was I Love Louisa.
There were 72 hairstylists that worked on this film.
The lead role that was played by Shirley MacLaine was initially supposed to be played by Marilyn Monroe, but she died during pre-production, so the film was actually put in a sort of limbo state for about a year.
Elizabeth Taylor was actually going to replace Marilyn Monroe, but eventually it didn't work out.
Throughout this movie, they make fun of Cleopatra. That's because Elizabeth Taylor was supposed to be the lead.
The costuming budget was $500,000, which would still be a big budget today.
Oh, but darling, I haven't a thing to wear.
When Elizabeth Taylor was slotted as the lead, some of the husbands were supposed to be played by Frank Sinatra, Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas, and Tony Curtis.
The jewels that you see in this movie, especially in the lush budget productions, were real jewels that were valued at $3.5 million.
In every scene that Paul Newman is in, he's eating something. It's sort of a running gag through the film. And as he gets progressively more crazy, the food he eats gets progressively less healthy.
This was nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Art Direction and Costume Design.
Thanks for watching our review. I hope you liked it. If there's a movie that you think we should review, please let us know down in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.